Good morning and welcome to Jasiri. Today we are exploring a topic that's been at the forefront of national discourse: the migration of Nigerians' upwardly mobile, intelligent and innovative demographic, largely made up of the young demographic. But before we dive into that, you might recall the hashtag #EndBadGovernance protest, which aimed to address pressing national issues. Now, we witnessed the uproar in the north, we witnessed the eerie silence in the east, and we witnessed the lukewarm reception in the south. As Nigerians, we will say, all die na die. However, some do come at a significant cost. According to the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Izoka and Anite, the economic sabotage from the protests will cost an estimated 500 billion naira and some change. Now, the question is, who shoulders the cost? Because it's already looking like foul play to me. It's giving foul play. But anyways, very quickly, according to the reports that we got, the protest led to the destruction of 52 billion naira worth of goods. And tragically, of course, 21 lives had been lost, and we have been keeping record of that. The lootings and damages, she says, are a severe setback to businesses and entrepreneurs across the nation. Now, this figure has stirred reactions from Nigerians, and I am a Nigerian. I'm one of those reacted because many people are skeptical and saying that the government might be inflating these numbers as usual, as a pretext for misappropriation. It's a sobering reminder of the complex interplay between governance, economic stability, and public sentiment. Now, Annie, I do not disagree that some of these things come at a cost.
Yes.
But 52 billion naira worth?
You know, it's funny that we mention the cost of protests and how much the government is telling us that this protest is going to cost. I'm assuming that funds are going to be released to...
of course,
yes.
Cushion the effect. Yeah,
exactly.
That's the idea.
But you see, it's funny to me how the response that the government is giving is more interested in how much the protest has cost instead of why we needed to protest in the first place. Our priorities have always been askew, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why. The minister is talking about 50. What was she saying? What was the figure?
52 billion naira.
52 billion naira.
52 billion naira worth of goods, actually.
Of goods or damage?
Of goods in damage.
Okay. So here's the thing. I feel like the ministers for this particular sector, I mean, if you want to take it even like with 20 years back, and I'm stopping at 20 years because it goes way, way, way further than
exactly.
that. In Obasanjo's time, I think the Minister for Commerce was some guy called Adamu Bello. Mm-hmm. And he had his reforms, what he wanted to do. He wanted to reform the agricultural sector. What was standing in his way? It was infrastructure, economic infrastructure deficiencies. Okay. After him, you had, what was his name? Ikechukwu Agu. I think he came in 2003. He said he wanted to reduce Nigeria's dependency on oil. He wanted us to have, right now, oil is still our dominant export. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to paint a picture here. After Ikechukwu Agu, we had, what was this guy's name? Aliyu Umar, I think it was. He came in 2007. He said, oh, listen, he wanted to, what did Aliyu Umar want to do? What was his own mandate? It was, something about, I think, industrial output, if I'm not mistaken. He claims that he failed because he was there for too short a time. So in 2008, Udenwa came in.
Why do people keep claiming they're failing because they're there for too short a time?
This is my thing. I feel like from those guys right down to our current minister, Mrs. Doris Uzoka, and there have been many in between. Udenwa, Adebayo, Martins, this guy who, why am I forgetting their names? Martins Kuye. All of them had these really lofty ideas and goals, and they said, hey, listen, we're trying to improve the economy of the country. But as we're talking now, the economy of the country is exactly why people went to go protest. It feels like Nigeria doesn't only celebrate mediocrity, it's like we fail with impunity. Mm-hmm. And when we fail, it's like, listen, here is the baton of failure. All I have to do is come into this seat, and say what I'm going to do. I don't have to do it, and then I pass the baton of failure over to the next person. And they have to do the same thing. And that's all that happens. So why the minister is concentrating on how much this protest costs? It's like, I'm pouring hot water on you and I'm burning your skin off. Please, focus on the fact that you are being burnt. I don't understand it.
I think that that's even too late, because I know that this thing she's saying is basically an after effect of what they were saying while the protest was on. Because I remember vividly they were saying things like, oh, be careful not to damage things. Even in the statement, you see that the damaged goods, or the damaged 52 billion naira worth of goods, came before the lives that were lost. And it's so surreal, because a lot of times, and we sit at this table and we say things like, oh, youths need to stand up for themselves, you need to learn, you need to, you said it, we need to learn, we need to read up, I know you're right, and all that. This is why we do not protest, because if you tell me to go out on the street, read about the Constitution, know my right, go there and tell them what I want. And at the end of the day, they're telling me, oh, no, be careful, don't damage that. Whatever it is that you want, be careful, don't do that. It's an insult.
It is an insult. But Nigeria has a track record of putting profits before people. We've always done that, and I understand. It's capitalism. That's the ethos of capitalism. But here's the thing. If you don't have people, how are you going to have profits? We forget that the profits come from the people. That's what's, you know, if this isn't the highest show of a lack of empathy, a lack of understanding, and just our recklessness with humanity, I don't know what it is. I don't know what else it is.
It's honestly quite damning. And at this point, I would say, I know that it's, you know, somehow irresponsible of the youths to just focus on coping mechanisms and all that.
It's not irresponsible.
Yeah, so you won't blame them.
Human beings adapt. That's what we were created to do.
And we've learned to.
That's the thing. We've learned to adapt by escaping. It's not right, but people have to survive. And the human mind is going to do whatever it can to survive. So, oh, there we go. I think we have something there on our screens for you guys.
So this is just basically according to them, this is the analytics of what the protest has cost so far. The death toll, 21, injuries, 175, number of arrests, 1,154, curfew declared, Yobe, Jigawa, Kano, I don't know whose business that is. States with cases of violence, they listed about 15. States with peaceful protests, about, I don't know, 5. And then she says, the loss of lives during the protest is saddening. My thoughts are with the families affected. The looting resulting in billions lost is a severe setback for our economy and entrepreneurs. Let's honor those we've lost by striving for more peaceful and constructive dialogue. Sad.
Very sad.
Really sad and disrespectful.
Extremely disrespectful. And here's the thing. We're not condoning anything that has happened. We really are not. But there is a cost for bad governance. I'm going to say it again. There is a cost for bad governance. And what we've experienced, what we're watching now, this is what it looks like. Not everyone is going to go out into the streets and say to themselves, hey, let's not touch people's property. Let's not loot. Let's not destroy public property. Why? Because these are things that they have never been able to have access to. You're standing so close to a fountain, but you're thirsty and dying of thirst. So how do you control people's impulses when, I've closed down my business because I'm trying to protest, and they're looking at food inside there that they've not been able to eat. You think they're not going to go after it? Of course they are. Of course they are. So as far as I'm concerned, and I'm going to say without mincing any words, the government is directly responsible for the violence and every bit of loss that has happened during this protest.
And
every other one before this.
I like that you didn't even say indirectly. Directly.
Directly responsible.
All right. Now, in case you're wondering where Catherine is, where everyone is, today we're bringing you a special edition, and that's just Siri on the streets. And Catherine will be our eyes and ears, of course, subsequently, as the show goes on. Just in case you're wondering, I just thought to drop that there. But very shortly, of course, we'll have Catherine join us, hopefully, so that she can tell us what the people are saying, basically feel the pulse of the people, because we want to hear from them. We just don't want to be here and, let it be like we're representing your interest, but we want to hear what you have to say as well. So very quickly, we'll go on a break. When we come back, we have a guest who will be joining us. And then, of course, shortly, we'll have Jasiri on the streets. We'll go on a break. Jasiri will be right back. Well, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us on Jasiri. Now, before we went on a break, I talked about Jasiri on the streets, and I wasn't mincing words. But if we can have Catherine give us live updates on the streets, definitely would have her come back with reports of how it went today. So either way, we're expecting reports from Catherine, in case you're still wondering. But that's not all. Annie, what do we have?
Well, we have a very exciting and interesting guest in the studio here with us today. The exodus of young Nigerians seeking opportunities abroad has reached an alarming level. There's so much people are running out of the country, leaving the country because they're looking for greener pastures and trying to find ways to make their lives better. The latest data reveals that over 50% of Nigerian youths express a strong desire to leave the country. According to a recent report by the United Nations, Nigeria is ranked among the top countries with the highest number of immigrants. Between 2010 and 2020, there was a staggering 200% increase in the number of Nigerians seeking asylum or residency in other countries in 2021 alone. Over 17,000 Nigerians sought asylum in Europe, with many, many more migrating to North America and the Middle East in search of better opportunities. But beyond the statistics, there are personal stories and deeper factors influencing the wave of migration that we need to understand. Now, joining us today to unpack these complexities is a seasonal traveler who has been to over 70 countries, a migration expert and the go-to person for anyone looking to navigate the ins and outs of relocating abroad. Waka Waka Doctor is here with us. Welcome to Jasiri.
Thank you very much.
I like to say you don't waka reach here again.
I'm always going back and forth, and you guys always find a way to hold me back.
I know. Yes, because we love having you around.
It's the secret sauce we have.
And it's the different shades of green.
Yes, today. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you join us. Now, Waka Waka Doctor, I mean, you heard the statistics that she read out, and you have guided countless Nigerians, through migration process. What would you say are the most common reasons why people would want to migrate? And I know that we've had this conversation before, but it's an unending conversation because it keeps happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, mostly for obvious reasons, but in your own opinion, what would you say are the major reasons?
I'm going to tell you a very funny thing that happened to me last night. So, walking on the streets of Lagos, decided that I wanted to have suya. Okay? So I go to the regular bookie guy who sells suya, and we're having a conversation, and I say, you go Canada. Would you like to go to Canada? And the guy looks at me and says, where the visa? And I'm like, no worry, I will take you to Canada.
Wow.
And he was so excited. And this is where the conversation started. I said, what thing you want to go do for Canada? Why you not stay? I mean, this is a guy that sells here. And his response was, job no day. This is a guy who sells suya. And his response is, job no day. Everywhere tight. You not see money to chop. So these are just, from the layman on the streets. These are some of the reasons. Now you want to now talk about those in the middle class and those, who are educated. The reasons are, there are lots of them, and probably we need to write a book about the reasons why people are leaving abroad. You graduate from school, there are no jobs. In fact, a few weeks ago, I did this vox pop on the streets where I was asking people this kind of questions, and one of them said, I graduated 5 years ago, no job.
Wow.
So you graduated 5 years ago, you've earned yourself a certain skills that are in demand abroad, but in your home country, there's no way forward. So you're going to look for greener pastures. You find those who also move abroad because they're looking to improve, the situation with their own family. They want their children to have better lives. So better education, better access, access to a better passport that would grant them global opportunities. That's also another reason. And another one I find is that a lot of people say, may Nigeria not happen to you? Especially for those who have access to healthcare. And then there's a problem, lost a parent, lost a friend. And they say, well, when we move abroad, the healthcare system is better. And those are some of the reasons, right? So job opportunities, looking for access to global opportunities, healthcare, insecurity is another reason why people take the leap.
So would you say that the current economical climate, which we all know is rather tempestuous, has it contributed to people, this mass exodus of people leaving the country? And how has it also stopped people from leaving the country? Do you see what I mean?
It's a two-edged sword, isn't it?
Yes.
So you find that people are so, the economy has dealt with them.
Yeah.
They feel like, okay, because again, like I've always said many times, migration didn't start today. Okay, it's as old as man. And people would always move to places that are better. I'll take my best example, Jesus. Jesus, when they were trying to kill Jesus, the guy ran away. So that is one reason why people move. But coming back to your question, the economic situation at the moment is making people want to look for
Run
better.
away.
And people often feel that when I'm abroad, when I take my skills there, when I shall find a way to get there, things will be better. Now, because it also costs money to make that leap abroad, and FX rates at the moment, phew,
Yep.
like you change, you go to the bank with Ghana must go,
And you come out with an envelope.
which envelope? Use two fingers to hold the money. Use two fingers to hold the money. So that has also stopped people from taking the leap. And that's why one of the things I do is to try and help people move abroad without breaking the bank. So if you've got skills, you've got, a good degree, or you found a way to kind of graduate in some way, and you have this ability to get yourself involved in extracurricular activities, that your CV is good. There are tons and tons of opportunities out there that people need to explore. Information is key, and that's why I keep sharing these things out there.
Speaking of information being key, so this thing you said about traveling without breaking the bank, I know for a fact that the percentage of people who have traveled would have more than doubled if it was more affordable to travel. Because I hear a lot of people say things like, if I get 10 million for account, why would I want to travel? So many people want to, but they cannot. But that's like...
Well, before that, if you have 10 million naira, 10 million naira in your bank account, and you're saying, if I have 10 million naira, why would I travel? But think about it. 10 million naira is how many pounds? Less than 5,000 pounds. Less than
5,000 pounds.
It's not even 5,000
No,
pounds.
it's not 5,000 pounds. Not currently.
That's something, 1.5 months salary for healthcare worker, healthcare assistant. That's why people were rushing to do healthcare assistant.
And making content about it every day.
True. But my question is it truly always greener on the other side? Because this is another challenge, that they say things like, they tell you that they're going for greener pastures, and then when they get there, you don't hear anything. You don't hear about their struggles. You don't hear about the sleepless nights. You don't hear about the hours they need to clock in at work just to get money. You don't hear that the man, the woman, even the children are having to work to make ends meet. So is it really always greener on the... I know that, infrastructure is better, the system it works better there, and we need to do better as a country. But is it always greener? Or is it that you have to know what you're going there to do?
Yeah, so the thing, one of the things medicine has taught me is that there is no 100%.
Yeah.
When you're, making diagnosis and trying to find cure for a patient, you cannot say for certain that this is the diagnosis. It can be anything. That's why you have differential diagnosis. And that's the same thing with traveling abroad and going abroad and moving to all these other countries. There is no perfect society. There's no perfect economy. Yeah. The idea is to move to a place that is better than where you are right now. So while, and it's life generally, yeah? There's no, life is not a better
absolute,
process.
yes.
There's no absolute. You still have thorns here and there. And that's what people need to realize. So when you're moving from Nigeria to, say, another country, you're not going to just expect that, boom, once I land, things will just change. No, you have to deal with, the language maybe. You have to deal with changing food.
Yes.
You have to deal with changing weather. You have to change with the fact that you're not going to be...
support system
is gone. So you have to start afresh. And that's why I always say that moving abroad is a personal journey, because you have to use your number 6. And you need to plan properly. You don't just stand today and say, I'm going abroad tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. No. You have to have a track record. You have to plan this thing step by step. Because at the end of the day, when something happens, then you don't carry your bag and say you're running back home. You know, it's like marriage. You have to plan, otherwise you rush in,
you rush out. Yeah, this is true. So I'd like to know, because there is an effect, everything has an effect, good and bad, and there will certainly be some negative consequences for this. Just people are leaving in droves. They're just like flowing out of the country like water. What do you think will be some of the long-term effects, in fact, even some of the short-term effects of the how do I put this delicately? The workforce of the country leaving.
Brain drain, isn't it?
Yes.
Brain drain.
Exactly that.
And I mean, I saw this policy yesterday that the presidency just announced about trying to attract doctors and healthcare workers back into the country. I'd say that's a good innovation. Whether it's going to be implemented is a whole different story.
Yes, especially here. Because we know how to say things. Doing them, execution.
Doing them is different. So we'll still say thank you for thinking of it. You know, now implementing is what we're asking for. Loads and loads of people leave with different skills. Teachers, nurses, doctors, construction workers, plumbers, people who've got great skills that are in demand in other countries, they move out. So we're losing our best to other countries. I have said this a couple of times, that most working economies, most working countries are successful off the backs of migrants. And I'll use our own country again as an example. When we were growing up, our maths teachers were Ghanaians. Yeah?
Yes.
Our English teachers were Ghanaians.
Yes.
I was taught in medical school by Indians, right? The reason why those guys were coming was because Nigeria at the time was relatively good. So people come to better. Now, we can't find them anymore. We are the ones going out. So we're losing the best of the best, okay? We're losing them to stronger economies, and that in itself is a huge problem.
So I want to ask you a question. You have to answer with your full chest, right? So aside even the professionals, you know, having to go out in droves, there are people who genuinely want to go out there for better education, say their master's degree or even, you know, whatever it is, degree they want to acquire. And their thought is they would go there, get the degree so that it can add to their portfolio and then come back to get better jobs.
Oh, the smile on your face.
In one word, is it worth it? I'm putting you on the spot. You have to be honest. Don't be diplomatic. Is it worth it?
I'm always very, very direct. The answer is no. No. I have a friend who trained in Russia. You probably will see this. We were together all day yesterday. Trained in Russia as a doctor and decided he wants to come back.
Oh,
so he came back. Now my guy wants to run.
I love it so much.
Now he wants to run. I mean, why? So there's a concept people need to understand. I am not against you going and coming back.
Right.
Because the idea again of migrating effectively and fully is to be able to close the loop. So you migrate, you go and come back. You acquire the skill, acquire the training, leave, integrate yourself, and you come back and invest. I'm not saying you have to sit here and retire here, but at least maybe your family, maybe take somebody else there, maybe your local government community is going to benefit from you having left. But you see this idea that, oh, when I go, I will go and get it. It works for some people. I'm not saying it's, again, it's not absolute. Some people do it successfully. The question is how many percent? So, but for me, you see, once you just stay.
Stay there. So, Waka Waka Doctor, this is a sensitive question, but it's an important one because a lot of young women leave the country, and it's different for women than it is for men. There are a lot more security concerns, many other concerns as well. How friendly is the climate for female immigrants?
I think I understand the question and I understand the thinking behind the question. For women, travelers, and then migrants, it's quite difficult or different in different countries. And that's why I always also say that when you want to move abroad, you need to do a research and check out the country you want to move to. For women, I think some of the conditions are not as fair. I'll give you an example. I was in Qatar, say maybe 9-10 months ago. And I met this Nigerian lady at a bar who told me she had just moved to Qatar. And you would not believe that the agent told her she was going to get a job in Qatar, like a tailor or chef or something. And it turns out that she paid a lot of money for that job. On getting to Qatar, story changed. There's no job. So now they kind of pimp her out. That's the word. So they pimp her out. She has to make that money back. She has to pay them that money back. Once she pays the money and the profit, then you can do whatever you want to do. And that's probably going to take 9 months, 1 year. So, and I might be wrong, but I don't think they'll treat a guy that way. And this is because it's a woman. And of course, again, in some societies, the way they react to women, even who are professionals, is a bit different. And so, yes, I totally understand your question.
So, for me, the thing, because I'm on social media a lot, I see across these apps, I was saying it the other time, that there's this song they use, TikTok, stuff, and then they're planning how to go. And then months after, you see things like, oh, someone is battling depression, they're lonely, isolated, overworking, especially the young ones that just like the baby girl life, It's like you telling me that when I go there, yes, there's a better economy, there's a better system, but I can't party with my friends because I don't have friends. And then there's this thing that I saw where you even want to attend birthday parties and you have to pay.
Everybody goes Dutch. Are you kidding?
Yes, the culture shock, getting homesick, especially for the younger ones, is very daunting. And it's like, I'm scared of that. I want a better life. And I know that my skills, I'm speaking for the people now, like I know that my skills can, get me something better when I get there. But I'm not all about that life.
Let me tell you a story. So, remember, when I first moved abroad, I was just at home, on my own. Just something, there's no money, let's save the money. And I got a call, there's a birthday party happening, come and eat. Nigerian guys. I just thought, okay, if I go out and eat, that will save me. So, dressed up, went to the party, it was a good restaurant. They were bringing 3-course meal. Okay. Ate, drank.
This story is not going to end.
We finished the food and, loads of stories, lots of drinking. And at the end of the day, they brought the bill. And they were I just saw that they were passing it around. What are you passing bill for?
What's going on here?
I only had the water, I only had the rolls.
They marked the point. What you ate, they marked. I turned to the guy. I was at home.
What's going on?
What's up here? You want to pay? They say, yeah, so everybody pays except the birthday person. Is that how you people used to do here? It's in my own country.
It's the birthday person that pays for everything.
So it's one of the things that people have to realize when you move abroad. Assimilation, learning the new culture. And it can be daunting. It can be very, very difficult. That's why, again, there's a quote I love to say that money isn't necessarily about money. Traveling abroad and moving abroad isn't necessarily about money. It's more about courage. Because it takes a lot of courage to decide and wake up, let me leave everything behind and just start afresh. You're going to have to form new relationships. You need to start having new friends. You cannot just wake up on Saturday and say, hey, what's up? I'm coming. It doesn't happen like that. I lived in the Republic of Ireland for a few years. And in my first apartment, I was there for 2 years. I never saw my neighbor.
No.
Not one day. The only thing I know is that I did see the car. So when there's a car, I know that, but I don't know. Him. Never. So when there's no car, if he dies inside, I don't know.
You wouldn't know.
Honestly.
You understand? You understand? So you just have to know that it doesn't come easy. And you have to learn how to adapt. It's part of it.
All right, Waka Waka Doctor, I mean, we're still going to come back to you,
Yes,
and it's good news that we have you to have this conversation, and of course, we're talking about the economy, but better news is that we have Catherine now on standby. We did say that she's going to be giving us update from the streets, and of course, we're talking about the hashtag End Bad Governance, the protest, and the after effect of it. So, Catherine, if you can hear us, what is the mood like out there in the street? Where are you, and what is the mood like there?
Hi, Kat.
Hi, lady. Hi. Don't know if you can hear me. Hi.
Yes, we can.
Guys. So, hi, ladies. Hi, Waka Waka Doctor. How are you? So, I'm on the streets of Lagos, or Jota to be precise. To my left is the Ganifawemi Park. That's where the protest, one of the hubs of the protest that just recently held there, and business has gone back to usual. I hate to break it to you guys, but it's business as usual. The roads are bubbling with activity. People are even not willing to talk. That's the incredible thing. You speak to youth who are saying that, oh, you know, we don't want to talk about it, it has passed. And we've been fortunate to have other people who've been willing to talk. Chisom is with me here, and we want to ask him as a representative of the youth. Chisom, thank you for speaking to us on Justice.
Yeah, good morning, good morning, Nigerians. My name is Okoro Chisom. So, my address to Nigerians is that the problem of this country is not from one person. As in, I'm one of the youth leaders, but through the protest period, I advised them not to protest against the government of...
So that means you didn't protest?
Yes, I did not protest because I advised my youth to not protest against the government of Nigeria.
Why? Why did you... Sorry to interrupt you.
Because I'm from Eastern State, because my people did not protest against the government. Because whether the government is favor us, is not favor us, we don't care about it because we have something on to work on to make Nigeria to be better, because the problem of this country did not lies on one person. So we are the cause of this problem that happening in Nigeria, because when issue like this coming out, like hardship or whatever, whatsoever, then think that is only the president alone that are causing it. But the cabals that surrendered him is the one that causing the problem, especially most of all those tough men in the business that one causing the problems of Nigeria.
Okay, so hold on, let me interrupt you here. Are you saying that protest is not the way to solve our problems or to make our voices heard?
Protest is not the problem of this country, seriously. The problem of this country is the people that are surrendering the country. Okay. When you are protesting of, let me say, they are protesting against one person, and it's never done in that way. I'm telling you, there is many problems to need to settle in this country.
Oh, all right.
Things to be okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chisom. That's an interesting perspective that Chisom just gave. That the problem is not about one person. All of us are contributing to the problem. Yeah. Good morning. How you doing? I'm fine. Thank you for speaking to us on Jasiri. Tell me about the protest. How was it for you? Do you think the protest was effective? This hashtag End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest. You feel talk about pidgin?
Okay. Nípa ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà, èmi rí i pé protest kan ní solution wa. Torí mo rí i pé wọ́n tún ran àwọn ọmọ aláìgbọràn tó wà nílùú yìí ní ọwọ́ ni. Torí gbogbo ìgbà tó bá lọ ń ṣe protest yẹn, nǹkan máa ń bàjẹ́ gan. Òun dẹ̀ kọ́ ní issue láti fi solve problem wa. Lóòótọ́ nǹkan wọn ìlú ò fararọ, kọ́nà balọ́jẹ́ kó jẹ́ kí a jèrè ẹ̀ nígbà tí ìlú Nàìjíríà bá máa dà. Protest kan ní solution ṣá ní tèmi, torí oníṣòwò ni èmi. Ní àsìkò tí kìíní tó bá ní protest gbà wọ́n máa àfẹ́sà ọ̀tẹ́ pé bí àbájáde àjẹun ní oúnjẹ táyọ̀ ọjà tábàdẹ́ta la máa fi fìdí àwọn ọmọ wa. So kọ́ba bẹ ìjọba wa kí a má rí ogun protest mọ́. Gbogbo tó bá fẹ́ lù kọ́ gbìyànjú kọ́ ṣe ká má rí ogun protest ní ìlú Nàìjíríà, torí kò fararọ. Àwọn tó bá lọ nígbà náà àwọn ló lè sọ. Kò kàn mí ó dẹ̀ni kàn mí, kò ní kọ́ ọ náà. Àwọn ló lè sọ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà, kò kàn mí. Protest kan ní solution wa.
Okay, I understand. I have an idea what she's saying, but quickly, I don't know whether. What do you think of what the president can talk after the protest? That speech, the president can talk, say, yeah.
a máa gbìyànjú ni a máa gbìyànjú kọ́lọ̀ dẹ̀ fún wọn ṣe ntẹ́mi gbọ́ pé wọ́n ní wọ́n wí torí mi gbọ́ news wọ́n ní wọ́n máa gbìyànjú gbégbé àárọ̀.
Madam, if you get chance to JAPA from this Nigeria, if you get chance, say come and live in America, Canada, or where you go, you go, and number one, you go, number two, where you go.
Na JAPA lóòótọ́ wọ́n máa ń ròyìn ọ̀hún dùn but wọ́n ní freedom bíi Nàìjíríà so kọ́ ràn wá lọ́wọ́ kọ́ bá a sún lù wá ṣe so solution idea tèmi.
Eshema, Eshepukoma. I got that one. All right, so let's talk to this whole week. We're celebrating the youth. It's International Youth Day. So we are talking to my next pretty lady. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you for speaking with Jasiri. So tell me,
welcome.
What are your thoughts on JAPA? If you had a chance to stay back in Nigeria or to travel out, what would your answer be, and which country would you say you would go to, and why?
To be candid,
Yes.
I love my country. I love Nigeria. I love everything about Nigeria. I'd appreciate we have a good economy for me to stay back in Nigeria. I love Nigeria. So I would like to be in Nigeria as long as possible. Because of the economy, everyone don't have a choice. We want to leave the country. So if I have my chance, I might actually consider it. But if the economy is good, I will stay back. So that's my idea about JAPA. I would love the country to be good for me to remain in the country. Even if I'm going to leave the country, maybe go on vacations and come back to the country, yes.
Okay, so tell me what you think. What were your thoughts during this hashtag #EndBadGovernance protest in Nigeria that took place between the 1st of this month to
To the 10th. Yeah, I appreciate the fact that in Lagos State it was peaceful, unlike the last time.
Yes.
So it is okay to protest, but it is bad for it not to be peaceful. But I appreciate the fact that the last one was a very peaceful one.
All right,
and I would,
Catherine, if you can hear
I
me.
would beg the government to listen to everyone and try as much as possible to make the country conducive for every one of us.
Catherine, if you can hear me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for speaking with us on Jasiri.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Catherine, I would say that you found yourself in a very interesting part of Nigeria because, I mean, we can see what their opinion is from that part, but it's more like a 50-50 because I know that there are some youths who do not agree. And for the second lady, the woman who spoke, she basically was saying that protest is not the answer, and when we protest, we destroy things, right? But you have, you know, we have covered the protest together, and you've seen the perspectives of the youth. What do you think the aftermath is? Do you think that one of the reasons they are this laid back is because of what happened during the protest or what did not happen? Or do you think that people are just generally very patriotic citizens?
Now, it's a bit of both. I actually think young people were intimidated. Before we came live, we had the opportunity to speak to other young people who were saying that, oh, they didn't protest because someone actually said in his area, the police were brazenly threatening people with guns and tear gas and all that. That's the story, according to him, that they don't want people to know about. So he says if you're under the impression that the government is bullying you or the officers of the government are bullying you to stay in your home and keep quiet, then there's a huge problem. And I feel the youth probably feel suppressed and that their voices aren't being heard. So a lot of them, interestingly enough, are thinking of JAPA. Before we got the people we spoke to, we tried talking to the older generation, and nobody was willing to talk. The women, no one was willing to talk, and they just said, oh no, I don't want problem, I don't want TV, I don't want, if we're talking without being on camera, I could talk. But you see, so there's an underlying fear that, okay, oh, I don't want my face to be out there because I could be picked up if I want to say what really is on my mind. So we are dealing with that, as well as dealing with the real impression that there are opportunities out there in as much as you love your country. But as they say in street parlance, who love help? You love your country, yes, you love your country, but if your country isn't working for you, and there's a lady we spoke to who had like 2 kids, she was saying she'd been hearing that Nigeria go better from where her father when they were growing up and her father was telling them, oh, Nigeria would be better. And then till now, she hasn't seen that Nigeria being better. If she had a chance, of course she would leave the country. Will she miss Nigeria? Yes, she will miss Nigeria. But she's looking at entrenching herself in a place that is stable, a place that is secure, and a place that she can raise her children in peace. So it's disheartening, but that's the reality on the streets.
It really is. Thank you so much, Catherine, for bringing us Jessiri from the streets. At least now we know what a portion of the, I wouldn't say all of it, but a portion of the citizens are thinking. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Gab.
Very quickly, I want to hear from Waka Waka Doctor. I mean, you heard the opinions, and I'm not going to go deeper into that. But I can tell you for a fact that not all young people are thinking that way, because a lot of young people, trust me, are feeling stuck. They feel stifled, and especially with the things that are happening, it's like after every protest, there's a growing desire to just bounce, and by bounce I mean JAPA. But the reason they haven't is because they feel stuck. But having to feel that way and being in the country, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to love your country. What is your opinion about, as a youth, feeling stuck in your own country?
First, I need to say that a lot of people feel that once you move abroad, then you don't love your country. I love Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I love my country. I will always represent my country out there, you know. Well, singing the national anthem does not give me goosebumps, but...
Do you even know it?
At this point, I don't know what our national anthem is.
Because the last one, the former one used to give me goosebumps.
It did?
No, the former one, but now I don't even know the
Nigeria's Call Obey.
Years ago would have given me goosebumps, but not anymore.
No.
But that doesn't mean that I don't love my country. The call for better means that I love Nigeria. I want Nigeria to be better. And people often say, oh, let's build Nigeria together. And my simple response all the time is, I'm not Bob the Builder. What I am doing right now is I am contributing in my own way to helping Nigeria. And that's by exporting people to go learn, to go acquire skills, to go become better, and come back and see if they can improve Nigeria in some way. I know that not everybody thinks that way. Not everybody feels that, you know, JAPA is a solution, but I would always say that that is one solution. A lot of youths feel stuck, and I always say that you need one of three things to move abroad. There's no need to feel stuck. You just need one of three things. You either need money, you need a degree, or you need a skill. So if you don't have the money, the reason why people will say, oh, I feel stuck, is because they always think about the financial implications of moving. So I don't have money. Where am I going to see 10 million? That is it. But if you've got a good, and that's why our parents always say, when you want to graduate well, pass well, have a good degree, you know, have a good qualification, because it is important. And if you don't have a degree, then you should have a skill that makes, because these guys who are out there will say, what are you bringing to our economy? What problem are you coming to solve? So if you can solve a problem, then you would see that it's not just about the money. There are other ways that you can, you know, use to move abroad so you won't feel stuck. And for those who are feeling stuck, my advice would be try and upskill. Learn a skill that would make you attractive to people out there. If you can go back to school, also go back to school, try and acquire a degree. It's not just about money.
Wow, thank you so very much. We've had quite a conversation today on Jessiri. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today's show. We would like to say a very warm thank you to our special guest, Waka Waka Doctor.
I was loving
over here. Thank you for spending this time with us.
Thank you.
And we would like to thank everyone who participated in Jessiri on the Street. Let's still remind you that yesterday was National Youth Day, and we still have a lot of hope for the youth in this country. We are still hoping that this country will do well for us. That's all the time that we have for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. Please be back with us tomorrow for another exciting, interesting episode of Jessiri. We will see you all again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye.